guys! This week we're looking at the untold mysteries, who for some reason think that NASA have already discovered intelligent life on Mars. Hi, and welcome to Jen's Little Corner.
The Curiosity rover is part of NASA's Mars science mission. The rover landed on Mars on the 6th of August 2012. The goal of the rover was to investigate the climate and geology, assessing whether or not Mars could be explored by humans in the future. Although the goals of the rover are clear, many people question whether or not the planet has already been inhabited.
Well, yes, they do question this. I mean, scientists are asking these sort of questions all the time. We're pretty sure that Mars in the distant past had a shallow ocean covering a lot of it. And anywhere there's liquid water, there's a good chance that the ingredients of life can get together and start something. Now, this wouldn't have been advanced life. This would have been microbial life, probably at best. Maybe we get multi-celled organisms, but they're not going to be anything terribly complicated. But it is possible that in the past, Mars did have some form of life on it. But I'm pretty sure this isn't what you're going for.
Over the years, strange and mysterious photos have appeared from the rover, making people question what is actually on the planet and what the rover's true mission is.
Yep, called it. Look, the Mars rover missions were purely to gather scientific information about the red planet. We wanted to know more about its composition, what was out there. They actually weren't actively looking for life, but they were looking for signs of water. Because anywhere there's water, there could be life. But this concept of, oh, what's NASA hiding, is every bit as crazy as NASA doesn't really go to space.
These 5 strange things have been discovered on Mars. Number 5. The Levitating Orb. This mysterious photograph seems to show a sphere-shaped rock hovering a few inches above the ground.
Seems to. Perspective is an amazing thing, as any flat earther would probably try to tell you. The thing about perspective here is that we are looking at a two-dimensional photo, and it's very hard to judge exactly the distance to objects. So whilst you might have a small dark patch on the ground, it's not necessarily a shadow from an object that's floating above it. That object can quite easily be sitting on the ground behind it, and it's just the camera angle of where that black mark is and where the actual boulder is. Nothing too complicated here. This is a boulder on the ground with a black mark in front of it. Pretty simple, hey?
This photo was taken near Mount Sharp, a mountain area on Mars, 18,000 feet above the valley floor. At first glance, the object looks as though it is hovering, and we can even see a shadow being cast beneath it.
As I already said, shadow, black mark, hovering, down on the ground. The reality is, you take the most obvious explanation and you apply that to the situation. So in this case, the obvious explanation is that the camera angle is showing a black mark on the ground in front of a boulder, and your perspective is making you think that that boulder is floating above it, and that is a shadow. We see this kind of thing all the time in artwork, where people use shadows and illusions to create three-dimensional objects out of things that are actually two-dimensional.
Many people that believe in otherworldly beings have suggested that it could be advanced technology. However, these types of photos can play tricks on our minds. The object could be supernatural, or perhaps the camera angle is giving the illusion of hovering, when the object is really laying on the ground.
So you show that you actually know what the solution to this is, and yet you're still espousing a supernatural or otherworldly cause? This is disingenuous at best. You're playing to the lowest common denominator, and I find that kind of despicable.
Number 4. The Pyramid. The Curiosity rover photographed this pyramid structure on May 7, 2015. Paranormal enthusiasts have stated that it shows a near-perfect design and shape, and that the object is likely the result of intelligent design and certainly not a trick of light or shadow.
Now, I went out and found a better picture of this so-called pyramid that was taken by the rover a few days later when the light was a little bit better and when they had a better angle to take the picture from. I think you'll agree that this is not a perfect pyramid. So as you can see, we are actually talking about a rock that has two edges that are reasonably sharply defined and the rest of it pretty rough and ready. Any sort of weathered sort of rock that you could have, and given that Mars likely had an ocean in the past, it's very easy to see how a rock like this could have been weathered.
When first seeing this photo, it is very interesting. It looks like the pyramids we are used to seeing on Earth, and as we know, there is much speculation as to how the pyramids were built.
Except for the fact that if you walk all the way around the pyramids, they still look like pyramids. Whereas if you walk all the way around this rock, assuming that you didn't die because you can't breathe on Mars, it wouldn't look like a pyramid from every side, because it doesn't. Now, as to the mystery of the pyramid, we're pretty sure we know how they were built. They were built by artisans, mostly paid labour, a few slaves, and with the great knowledge and know-how of craftsmanship of the Egyptian people.
However, a principal investigator of the Mars rover has stated that the structure in the photo is probably just a volcanic rock.
Again, showing an actual picture of the actual rock taken from the better angle and passing it off as though it's a different rock. If you actually said this was the same rock from another angle, your whole story goes away. Once again, being completely disingenuous.
Many volcanic rocks on Mars break and cleave in very sharp, angular ways, but many believers are frustrated that the photo has been labelled a rock. Physicists have even stated that they believe the red planet is already inhabited by humans.
Okay, citation needed. And physicists? Why on earth would physicists be saying, oh, it's already inhabited by humans? Humans! Notice she says humans. If they were inhabitants of Mars, they're not going to be humans. They're going to be Martians, not humans. And aside from that, as I said, physicists, not physicists. Physicists would not be saying this. Physicists don't talk about what alien life must be on other planets. For goodness sake, could you be any more disingenuous?
And that labelling a photo a rock will discourage people from believing the truth.
What truth? Come on. There are no signs in any of the satellite photos of any habitats on Mars. We have sent countless rovers and other landers to Mars, and we have not seen any signs of life. Now, we suspect there could still be signs of life in the soils underneath, where there is still some moisture. But Mars is pretty much a dead planet. There is no life there. Not anymore.
This is a very interesting photo, but is it the work of intelligence or simply the work of nature?
Nature. It's nature. I told you it's nature. It's fucking nature.
Number 3. The Rodent. Okay, so this is a personal favourite of mine, known as the Mars rat. This rodent was spotted by the Curiosity rover sometime in September 2012.
Okay, I don't see a rat. Do you guys see a rat? I don't see a rat. Your pareidolia is fucking insane.
When first published, this photo aroused a lot of interest amongst UFO enthusiasts. They claimed that there was finally proof of life on Mars. The photo itself is very clear.
Clear. I'm sorry. I suppose if you're a UFOologist and you believe in this stuff and you're used to seeing smudgy pictures of things in the sky, yeah, this is clear. Clear photo. Oh God, no.
And when I first saw it, I thought it may have been falsified.
In all honesty, I think the only thing falsified here is your belief in this bullshit. Really. Honestly, you can't possibly look at that picture and think it's some sort of rodent. Forget the fact that evolution on Mars would be different than it is here on Earth. This is not a rodent. This is a rock.
However, it is easy enough to check the NASA website to confirm its validity, so I went online to check and have posted a link in the description box for you to see for yourselves that this is a NASA original photo.
Yep, it is a legit NASA picture of a rock, and here is the original picture. I also have to wonder why you are over-reddening your photos. Did you think that perhaps NASA take out some of the extra red from the red planet? Mars is definitely a shade of red because of all the iron oxide, but the level of red you're showing is absolutely freaking ridiculous. And I can't help thinking that you're just doing this to smudge the photos just that little bit more to try and prove your point. Your point that is wrong. And I think you know it is.
Going back to the subject of the photo, curiosity scientists are not sure what it is and have branded the photo, you guessed it, a rock.
That's because it is a rock.
But some scientists have stated that if NASA do intend to send humans to Mars, they would have to test the conditions first. So perhaps this is a NASA experiment involving animals, or is the rodent an inhabitant of Mars?
No and no. For one thing, we wouldn't be able to send a rodent to Mars. Our trips take 6 to 9 months to get to Mars. We wouldn't be able to store enough food on the rocket to keep the rodent alive. Plus, we don't know the effects on those small animals over that long period of time exposed to cosmic rays. We are not sending rodents to Mars. And no, it's not a rodent on Mars, because for one thing, they wouldn't be the same as the animals we have here, so they wouldn't be rodents anyway, even if there were animals on Mars. The other thing is we have absolutely no evidence of any life on Mars more advanced than microbial. And even microbial we have no evidence for. Well, not living evidence for, anyway. Oh, and I'd just like to ask, who are these some scientists you keep mentioning? I see no citations. I think you are just asserting things without evidence. And according to Hitchens' razor, that which you assert without evidence, we can just throw away.
Number 2. The crab. This crab-like object was seen on Mars in late July 2015. When this photo was uploaded, it reminded many people of the facehuggers from the movie Alien. When the photo is blown up, we can see what looks like 8 legs, just like crabs on Earth.
Oh wow, facehuggers! Yay! Oh my god. It's the whole Greys thing over again, isn't it? We have fictional stories tell things of little green men, and we start seeing little green men. This is the alien trope over and over and over again. We have pareidolia, which explains most of these things, where we see objects that we're familiar with in things that just happen to vaguely look like them. And then we have the whole mass psychology aspect of these are the things that we see or hear about, so we want to see them out there. The fact that you have to take this fairly distant image of a enclosed rock formation and zoom into it till it's blurry as all shit. So you can see something that's got supposedly 8 legs and looks a little bit like maybe a spider or a crab. Then you're seeing face huggers. Yeah. No. This isn't what's happening here. This is pareidolia. Just plain old-fashioned pareidolia.
This strange creature does look out of place hanging from the wall of the rock. Many people have argued about its size, with guesses ranging from a few feet to the size of a car. But NASA scientists have hit back and said that this is a case of pareidolia.
Yep, told ya, pareidolia. Very simple, straightforward explanation, and the simplest explanations are usually the correct ones.
Where the brain tricks the eyes into seeing familiar shapes and objects, such as faces or animals within patterns and textures of clouds and rock surfaces. One scientist stated that people who want this to be true are going to see what they want to see, but conspiracy theorists are sticking by the crab theory.
And you are feeding off that to get views and earn a living by peddling horseshit.
Number 1. The Sand Creature. Quite possibly the most famous photo showing life on Mars.
No, it doesn't. Again, rocks and shadows. Pareidolia. Simple, straightforward, easy answer. There is no complex life on Mars that we know of.
This strange-looking humanoid creature was spotted by the Mars Spirit Explorer. When this photo went live, many paranormal enthusiasts pointed to aliens and stated that this photo was evidence to prove that life on Mars exists. Surprisingly, there isn't much information about this photo. This makes conspiracy theorists believe in the photo even more. The mysterious creature was snapped in 2008, but the photo was quickly put to bed, with scientists saying that the structure is not that tall. It's only a few centimeters high. It's just a rock.
Yep, just a rock. As I said, pareidolia. I really don't understand why people like this push this weird and wacky stuff out there. This person is at least trying to say that, oh, it could be the other thing, but hang on, I really think it's aliens. And thereby feeding the paranoia of people who are conspiracy theorists. And they don't need their paranoia filled up any more than it already is. So just stop it. You're basically being an arsehole. So stop it. Please, just stop it.
But what do you think?
Yeah, what do you guys think? Is this person actually as crazy as I think they are? Or are they just a complete and utter po? Please let me know below in the comments. And remember, like and subscribe and all that lovely jazz. And that, I love having you guys here. And remember, please don't choke on the selfie stick.